If you have ever searched for candle making advice online, you already know how quickly it can become overwhelming. One person tells you to use one temperature, another recommends a completely different wick, and suddenly, a simple candle feels more like a science experiment. The good news is that candle making becomes much easier once you understand the order of the process. In this video, I am going to walk you through candle making at a glance, from choosing your wax to evaluating the final burn, so you can make candles that are beautiful, safe, and designed to perform well. If you would like a free copy of the PDF, you can request it here. Whether you are making your very first candle or trying to improve the candles you already make, these steps will give you a reliable place to begin. For this video, we are assuming you have already chosen your vessel. Make sure it is a heat-safe candle vessel. Test only one size in the beginning. The first step is choosing your wax, because your wax controls almost everything that follows. It influences the wick family you will test, how hot you heat the wax, when you add fragrance oil, when you pour, how long the candle needs to cure, and how much fragrance the wax can safely hold. This is why I do not recommend starting with a random recipe and swapping in whatever wax happens to be available. Two waxes can look very similar and still behave very differently. For a beginner, a coconut apricot wax, coconut blend, or soy blend can be a friendly place to start. But there is no single perfect wax for everyone. Choose one that fits the type of candle you want to make, then learn that wax before jumping from product to product. Once you choose it, download or save the manufacturer's instructions. Those directions, not a general temperature you saw online, should become the foundation of your process. Key message: source core materials from candle suppliers. Next, gather your supplies. For your core candle materials, especially wax, wicks, and fragrance oil, buy from a reputable candle supply company. Candle suppliers provide technical information, recommended wick families, fragrance usage guidance, and consistency from one order to the next. Amazon can be perfectly fine for tools such as a thermometer, pouring pitcher, heat gun, or some candle vessels. But I would not choose an unverified wick simply because it is inexpensive or arrives quickly. A wick that looks the same as another wick may have a different construction and burn very differently. When you purchase your wax, look at the supplier's wick recommendations and use those as your starting family. You will still need to test the size, but beginning with the right type can save a great deal of time and frustration. Key message: use the manufacturer's process. Temperature is not a minor detail. It affects how the wax melts, how the fragrance binds with the wax, how the candle cools, and sometimes how the finished surface looks. There are 3 temperatures to pay attention to. First, heat the wax to the recommended melting temperature. Second, add your fragrance at the temperature given for that wax and stir thoroughly. Third, pour at the recommended pour temperature or within the supplier's suggested range. These numbers may be different from one wax to another, and that is normal. Instead of memorizing one universal formula, make a simple batch sheet for the exact wax you are using. Record your heat temperature, fragrance add temperature, pour temperature, room conditions, and results. That record will help you repeat a successful candle later. Key message: test efficiently, then give the wax time. Now we come to the step that determines whether your candle actually performs: wick testing. Rather than testing one wick, waiting, and then beginning again, test 3 nearby wick sizes at the same time. One smaller, one in the middle, and one larger. Keep everything else identical: the same wax, fragrance percentage, fragrance oil, vessel, cure time, and pouring process. This gives you a meaningful comparison and helps you narrow the range faster. Then wait for the full cure time recommended for your wax before judging the hot throw or beginning the formal burn test. A candle may look solid after a few hours, but that does not mean the wax and fragrance have finished developing together. If you test too early, you may reject a good formula because the scent seems weak or because the candle has not yet reached its expected performance. Patience here prevents wasted materials and bad data. No non-wax items in candles. Safety emphasis. This next rule is about safety, and it is one I do not compromise on. Do not place dried flowers, herbs, crystals, wood pieces, or other non-wax decorations inside the burn area of a candle. A candle is a small controlled fire. As the melt pool expands, decorative material can move toward the wick, become additional fuel, interfere with the flame, or create an unpredictable fire hazard. If you want a decorative candle, keep the beauty in the vessel design, packaging, an engraved lid, or another treatment that stays safely away from the flame. Inside a burning candle, use only candle wax, the wick, fragrance at an appropriate load, dye intended for candles if desired, and additives approved for candle making. Beautiful should never come at the expense of safe. Key message: read the entire burn, not just one moment. During testing, you are looking for a clean, controlled burn over the life of the candle, not simply a full melt pool as fast as possible. Good signs include a steady flame, little to no visible soot, a wick that does not develop an oversized mushroom, and a melt pool that develops appropriately as the candle progresses. A full melt pool may take 3 to 4 hours, and some candles reach it only after a few burns as the candle moves farther down into the vessel. Problem signs include persistent tunneling, heavy smoke, an unstable or excessively large flame, a wick that repeatedly goes out, or a vessel that becomes too hot. These clues may mean the wick is too small, too large, poorly matched to the wax, or being affected by the fragrance formula. Do not judge only the first burn. Record each session, trim the wick consistently, and evaluate how the candle behaves from the top of the vessel to the bottom. Quick glossary. As you test, you will hear a few common candle making terms. Learning them makes troubleshooting much easier. Hot throw is the strength and character of the fragrance while the candle is burning. Sinkholes are cavities that can form as wax cools and contracts. Glass adhesion describes how the wax appears to hold against the inside of the vessel. Cracks can form on the surface as the wax cools or responds to temperature changes. Frosting is the white, crystal-like appearance that is especially common in soy wax. Not every cosmetic clue means the candle is unsafe or unusable. Frosting, for example, is a natural characteristic of soy wax. The goal is to separate appearance issues from performance and safety issues, then adjust only when the adjustment serves your product standard. 4 principles to remember. If you remember only 4 things from this video, remember these. First, wax controls everything. Choose your wax, learn its requirements, and build your process around it. Second, always test, do not guess. A wick chart gives you a starting point, not a final answer. Your specific combination of wax, fragrance load, dye, vessel diameter, and wick must be tested together. Third, change one thing at a time. If you change the wick, fragrance percentage, pour temperature, and vessel all at once, you will not know which change caused the result. Controlled testing gives you information you can actually use. And fourth, be patient. Candle making is a craft supported by testing and careful observation. Every test, even the one that does not pass, teaches you something valuable. So here is the process at a glance. Pick your wax, follow the correct temperatures, test your wicks, allow the candle to cure, and observe how it performs over time. Then use what you learn to improve the next test. You do not need to master every wax, every wick, or every technique at once. Start with one system, document your process, and let your own test results guide you. That is how you move from simply making candles to making candles with intention. For more in-depth information on making a candle for beginners, check out the Beginners playlist. Link is in the description. If this video helped make the process feel clearer, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more practical candle making education. And tell me in the comments which part of candle making gives you the most trouble. Choosing a wick, getting a strong hot throw, or understanding your burn test. Your question may become a future video. If you're serious about candle making, start thinking like a candle artist. If you want to go deeper into candle design, sublimation, engraving, and creating candles that truly stand out, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in getting my book on sublimation and engraving at cost, the link is in the description. Buyers of my book can explore a free trial that includes one-on-one coaching, a physical monthly newsletter delivered to your front door, and my private school community. And if you'd rather buy my candles instead of making them yourself, I've added a link to my Etsy shop below. See you next time on The Candle Artist Way.